Hey guys, it's Preston Vanderbilt here, and I'm back with another educational video for you guys today on how to better invest crude oil while investing with online options. Crude oil is among one of the most commonly traded commodities, along with gold and silver, but oftentimes novice or inexperienced traders miss out on numerous opportunities that crude oil presents. The goal of this video today is to provide you all with this essential knowledge concerning crude oil and informational tips on how to profitably invest with this popular commodity. Crude oil's popularity stems from its fundamental role in modern life. Crude oil is a commodity used to produce energy resources to power modern transportation vehicles. Essentially, crude oil has become an irreplaceable asset on this earth, and its value will only continue to rise in the years to come. One task that you need to dedicate a good amount of time to would be to analyzing the price of raw materials. Fluctuations in the price of raw materials ultimately affect the price of goods and services. Among one of these would be transportation costs, since the price of crude oil could decrease or increase. One common example I use when explaining this to my subscribers would be that Canada, which keep in mind has one of the few highly developed economies as a net exporter of energy, in particular crude oil. This is where correlation analysis really comes into play here, where investors oftentimes invest high probability signals that the price of crude oil and the Canadian dollar will fluctuate with one another. So if the price of crude oil rises in Canada, then you can insinuate that the price of the Canadian dollar will rise as well, where you can make a high probability investment that will more than likely pan out in your favor by placing a call investment for the future. I'll take in this case this example now, the price of crude oil in the US dollar. Unlike Canada, the US is not a huge exporter in crude oil. So with that being said, if the price of crude oil rises, oftentimes the value of the US dollar decreases. This is just another example of a correlational investment used by fundamental analysis that you could be generating a profit from. So if you're watching the Canadian dollar and the price of crude oil rises, you can insinuate by correlation analysis that the price of the Canadian dollar will also rise. However, when it comes to the US, since we're not a big exporter, you can insinuate that the value of the US dollar will decrease. Now, one thing to keep in mind would be that crude oil tends to hold a fairly stable value due to the overall consistent rate of global production and demand. However, wide fluctuations can be expected during times of geopolitical tensions between different countries. Perhaps the best way to invest crude oil with binary options investing would be to use a fundamental analysis approach opposed to the traditional technical analysis approach. Some fundamental topics that you could keep an eye out for would be the weekly U.S. crude oil inventories report, which is due at 14:30 GMT time every Wednesday. Another fundamental factor that can affect the value of crude oil would be the monthly IEA, which stands for Monthly International Energy Agency, along with the EIA, Energy Information Administration, market reports. So the IEA and the EIA each have monthly market reports regarding the price of crude oil that can affect its price in a negative or positive manner. Another report that you can keep an eye open for would be the OPEC, which stands for the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Country, which is basically countries that just export petroleum are on that list. The information that you'll be wanting to keep an eye out for regarding the OPEC would be the production quotas of Russia and the North Sea. Perhaps the last fundamental factors that you could watch out for would be natural disasters. Natural disasters that take place in the Gulf of Mexico and the North Sea will inadvertently affect the price of crude oil. Weather reports also play a big contributing factor in the value of crude oil. For example, if weather agencies predict a long and cold winter, then it is quite likely that there will be a higher demand for heating fuels. Also, the extremely cold weather typically causes vehicles' engines to use up more fuel, calling for more fuel cost. To summarize, factors that can ultimately affect the price of crude oil would be the weekly U.S. crude oil inventories market report, which is presented every Wednesday at 14:30 GMT. Monthly IEA and EIA oil market reports also play a large contributing factor, along with the OPEC quota produced by Russia in the North Sea. Natural disasters, weather reports, and correlating prices between crude oil and particular currency pairs also fundamentally affect the value of crude oil that can all be taken advantage of. Anyway guys, this wraps up today's video. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to send me an email at prestonvanderbilt@gmail.com or through my Skype provided in the description box below. As always guys, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more videos to come.